know some of you, but just as an introduction, my name is Abby Delaney. I am the founder and president of Key Log Rolling, and it's been super fun to connect with programs on this little webinar series that we've started. I guess it's one of those silver linings of the pandemic that we've found a new way to connect with everyone all across the country. I think that's been one of our biggest hurdles as a small company based in Minnesota, but that has started programs in all 50 states, is reaching all of you. So it's fun that everyone is now accustomed to this format, and we can connect with you more personally. So keep an eye out for future webinars. We kind of started out more general with topics just related to each different type of program, whether you're a summer camp or a park and rec or a college. And now we're getting to be a little bit more specific. So training your staff, next week's webinar on Thursday is about how to put on like a special event with log rolling. We'll have, some more curriculum-based webinars. And if you have topics that you would like to see explored, feel free to send them to me and we can put together a webinar about it. So I'm going to try to keep this to about 30 to 40 minutes today, so we won't take up too much of your time. So I first want to start off by saying, when you're with training your log rolling staff, you do not need experts or experienced log rollers on staff. We have started nearly 500 programs all across the country, across the world in the last 7 or 8 years. And all of those programs are with brand new log rollers. Pretty much anyone that's learning to be a log rolling instructor these days is a new log roller themselves. And the great thing about log rolling is that you don't need to be an expert to be a great teacher. Unlike, I always say, I grew up playing tennis. So you have to be a pretty good tennis player to teach someone else how to play tennis. You have to be able to serve the ball really well and know the grip and everything. Or skiing, you have to be able to ski down the mountain yourself in order to teach someone else how to do it. Or with other sports like football, there's a lot of rules and it's, there's a lot that you need to understand about the game. Log rolling is a challenge. It's a fun challenge, but it's not complicated. And it's, once you learn a few basic things, it's pretty intuitive. So as long as your staff can learn some basics, they can then share those with others. So I really just say, you don't need experienced staff, you just need enthusiastic staff. So you first want to think about your staff selection and who is going to be your log rolling staff. Obviously, the obvious ones to choose from would be your lifeguard, aquatic staff, swim instructor staff. But it's also important to think about the types of programs that you plan to offer and then who is best suited to leading those programs in terms of their personality. If you're just doing more play-based programming, that's informal, it's events, it's all ages, it's more just kind of getting, it's Friday evening open log rolling and whoever shows up is invited to come log roll. So then you want someone that's really enthusiastically encouraging people to come give it a try. Don't be shy. You want someone that's willing to engage with newcomers. But they don't necessarily need to be a super experienced log roller. They need to be someone who's kind of willing to learn with the whole group. If you're going to be offering more instruction-based programming, like lessons and clinics, then you definitely, you want someone who's kind of all of the above, but also, maybe those are more of your swim lesson instructors who, understand kind of the methodology and a curriculum and, if they're teaching a class, they know that people are already signed up for it. So maybe they don't need to be so, enthusiastically bringing people in because they're going to be teaching a class and those people are already signed up for it. If you're really hoping to get advanced and start doing, some more competitions or advanced classes and stuff, then you might want to find someone who they can be new at log rolling. But for those types of lessons, you want someone who is really passionately interested in getting better at log rolling themselves and who has an interest in kind of critiquing it a little bit more and being competitive and helping give more of like a coach, I guess I would say. So just think about those different types of programs that you're going to offer and who is well suited to teaching those and leading those, because of course you want your participants to have a good experience with your programming. So once you can, again, think about who might be your log rolling staff, then I would say find a time to introduce log rolling to your broader staff, like whether it's your, aquatics staff, your lifeguard swim lessons, maybe it's the fitness staff at your facility. Maybe it's, if you're a college, maybe it's also inviting, the outdoor program, the outdoor adventure program, and to give it a try. So provide an opportunity for your pool of potential staff to try log rolling, just like in a fun, no pressure environment. Maybe they don't even know that log rolling is going to be an opportunity, a work opportunity for them, and kind of observe, one who you don't need to observe who's just good at it. Try to see who really enjoys learning it, and likes to kind of see how they're progressing, or those who are helping others improve. I think the thing that I love about log rolling is that I find myself, teaching brand new beginners, and, let's say it's a big group and I'm teaching a few people, and then there's another log, and then those people go on and they try on the other log, and I'll turn around and I'll see, oh, the people that I just taught 5 minutes ago are teaching new people. They're already helping out. They're saying, oh wait, no, remember, bend your knees or keep your feet moving. So they can pass that knowledge on really quickly. So look to see who seems to also be interested in, helping others learn as well. And so again, just kind of giving like a broad pool of people a chance to try it, see who likes it, and then go to them to say, hey, we are going to be, training and designating a log rolling staff. Would you be interested in being, one of our log rolling staff? It's kind of one way to go about it. Find a smaller group of log rolling staff. So that's another thing, is that I would say create a log rolling staff designation. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to pay them any different, or it's, could just be the same as your lifeguards, the same as your swim instructors. But it's kind of fun to say, these are our log rolling staff. Because one, that just like, it empowers them, gives them responsibility and ownership over the program, also gives them more opportunities for hours. I know that there's a lot of turnover, especially with lifeguards. And this is another way to, keep them coming back throughout the school year or the summer. Whenever you lose them, it's nice to have another opportunity for them to stay on as a staff person. So what would be the steps to getting them going once you've chosen your staff? Well, I will first say, obviously, key log rolling, we can come and train your staff on site for you. I'm happy to talk to you more about that afterwards. But for those that, either need a quick refresher for new staff, or who, if that's not quite in your budget yet for this year, we do provide tools for you to help train your staff on your own, so that you can get up and rolling right away. So the first thing would be just kind of some independent learning for them, which is basically make sure that they read our key log rolling instructional manual. If you already have your key logs and you have misplaced the workbook that we sent along, or the binder that we sent, or if you just want digital copies that you can email to your staff, just let me know. I can send you a PDF of that so you can pass that along easily. I know no one likes to read manuals, but I will say that our instructional manual is really geared towards teaching someone who's brand new not just how to log roll, but also how to teach log rolling. So it's really geared towards your staff. I just anecdotally, my husband, who is a new log roller, one day he just like randomly took our instructional manual and started paging through it and read through it all. And he just said to me, he was like, wow, this really is all you need to know about log rolling, everything you need to know to learn how to log roll and to teach log rolling. You just have to read it. So it doesn't take long, but make sure that your staff, before then they go to practice, just sits down and reads that manual. Then have them watch our videos. We have a series of like shorter videos that kind of breaks, different elements down. And then we also have an 18-minute long video that basically teaches two brand new beginners. The people in the video have never log rolled before in their life, I swear. So it teaches these two people, I'm the one teaching them. I teach them how to log roll. So then your staff can watch that also for a video for themselves on how to learn how to log roll, but also so that they can observe, my teaching techniques as well. That video is an 18-minute long video. And again, I know in the age of TikTok videos and Instagram reels and stuff, that seems like a really long video. But I encourage you to have them sit down and watch that before as the first step in their training. So once they've familiarize themselves with the manuals and the videos, then schedule obviously a time for your staff to all practice log rolling together. So, depending on, I know for camps, your staff training weeks are really limited. So, even just getting the log rolling staff or the waterfront staff or whatever, down there for an hour session for them to try it, schedule a couple times for them to give it some practice themselves. So they want to be practicing not only log rolling, but also really encouraging them to practice teaching each other. So don't be shy about, giving for them to give instruction and feedback to each other. I also really encourage you to have them take some video and then watch that video afterwards. That really helps for them to be able to see themselves, even if it's like within the session, have them filming themselves. Okay, I'm going to give it a try, film it, then they come back on the deck and watch it. That will really help their skill progression quite a bit. So once they have done some practice sessions on their own, the next thing that I really encourage you to do is have them practice teaching another staff group. So if you're able to, you could bring in, let's say, like if you're an aquatics facility, or if you're like a recreational facility, bring in, the fitness group, or bring in the executives or the admin people or the maintenance people. Bring in another staff group and have your log rolling staff teach them how to log roll. They'll learn a lot by teaching people that have never, had an introduction to it. It'll help them figure out how they want to, formulate their cues, and just give them some practice teaching it to someone who's never had it before. So then, or who's never tried log rolling before, so that that group can then, give feedback and tell the group that they're teaching beforehand to be critical, really ask, oh, what do you mean by, bending your knees, or what do you mean by this? So that, it just sharpens the edge of your staff a little bit, so that they understand. When you're teaching, when they practice teaching with themselves, they all have kind of been familiarized with that. So they already will kind of translate in their own head. But if you're teaching a brand new group that's never done it before, they don't even know how to translate, the instructions into what they're learning. So it really makes it so that that group has to be very clear about what they're saying, and be, when they're giving the demonstration, like kind of over exaggerate things so that they can learn. And it's kind of a fun like team building activity for other groups to get to know each other and that kind of stuff. So if your staff learns nothing else, I wanted to go over some things that are just kind of crucial to them understanding. So in the very least, the following things that I'm going to review are kind of the most important things for them as a log rolling staff person. First is the equipment. They obviously need to know how to use the equipment. So the number one thing with the key logs is when they're getting set up for a class or a workshop or event that they're going to teach, to get the logs in the water and to fill them entirely with water. There's an internal foam baffle in the key log, and then you fill it up with water, entirely full with water, and that gives the mass back to the log so it spins evenly and smoothly. If they just throw the logs in the water and don't fill them up, they will sit really high on the water and they'll be really buoyant, and it'll be impossible to learn. It'll be very frustrating. And if they only fill them halfway up, they'll just kind of sit in the water and they'll be like waterlogged. They won't spin evenly all the way around. So it's really important for your staff to know how to fill the key logs up with water. Obviously also important for them to know that at the end of their time teaching or whatever, if they have to take the logs out of the water, to open them up, let the water drain out, and then they'll be light enough for them to, store on the deck or on the beach or wherever you're storing them. The other thing that's really important for them to know how to use or how to put on are the training fins. The training fins slow and stabilize the key log for beginners. It's important that they know to put them on very tightly so that they're snug and secure around the key log, so that the log doesn't just like spin within the training fin, that the training fin is creating that resistance and stabilizing the log so it's like spinning together as one unit. They are placed at either end of the key log, at both ends, and then in the center. And then of course they should know that as people improve and get better, they can remove those one by one for more challenge. So they should, again, understand how to fill up the key log with water and understand, how to put the training fins on and how they work. They should also understand how to hold the key log for beginners. It's really important when you're first learning to step onto the log. For beginners, when they're first getting up, it's very helpful to have, a kind of still and steady key log. So for your staff to know how to hold the log either firmly against their chest, or if you're at a beach or a zero depth situation, that they can be in knee deep water and that they can hold the log kind of like in between their legs and hold on to the training fins to stabilize it. So if they just put the logs in the water and they're kind of standing back and just kind of giving people instruction like that, that's not super helpful. They should be right there by the log, holding on to it as each time the new beginners get on. Safety. Obviously, they need to be, that's first and foremost, is that they should be running a safe lesson or safe activity, safe class, whatever the program is that you're doing. So they need to know that the key log should be, perpendicular to any pool edge or dock, and that the rollers that in the key log needs, at least 10 feet in front and behind the people log rolling. And the biggest thing for your staff really to manage is actually the other participants, because it's the type of thing where everyone gets so excited, and the other people in the class, and they're cheering each other on, and they're jumping up and trying it and falling on it off and stuff. And a lot of times they end up like standing, in the water right in front of the person that's on top of the log rolling. So really encouraging the participants to wait at either end. You can just kind of even see here, and that they should wait at either end of the key log for their turn, because obviously you don't want people falling on top of each other. It also helps for your staff to really understand why log rolling is a safe sport so that they can reassure and encourage participants to try it. The first thing that people think when a lot of times the first thing people think when they see log rolling is, oh my gosh, I'm gonna, fall and knock my teeth out, or I'm gonna hit my head. So it's helpful for your staff to be advocates for your program, be able to talk about it and tell other people like, no, it's actually really safe. And here's why it's safe. Because when you're log rolling, the reason why you're log rolling or the reason when you're falling off, the reason why you're falling is because your weight is actually going away from the log. So you end up falling away safely into the water. And even once you start to get a little bit better, you might, maybe you do fall on the log, you might graze it on your way down, but it's in the water. So it's buoyant, the impact is minimized. So log rolling really is not only a safe sport, but it's a low injury sport. So it's helpful for them to be able to talk about that. You don't want them to be teaching or them to be running an event and trying to get people to come try it. And someone says, oh no, I'm going to get hurt. Well, you want them to be able to say, no, it's actually really safe. And for this reason. So in terms of actual log rolling technique instruction, this is kind of the crux of what they should know. And they can demonstrate this your staff can demonstrate this on the pool deck. They don't necessarily actually need to be able to do these things themselves, but if they can demonstrate it on the pool deck, that's super helpful. So log rolling is all about your stance and your step. So the stance, feet hip width apart, knees bent, arms out for balance. That's pretty much it. It's just an athletic stance. Feet hip width apart, knees bent, arms out for balance. The two things that they will consistently be like that if they don't say anything else to the participants in the lesson, the two things that they will be constantly saying to them will be, don't look at your feet and keep your feet moving. So those are really the most important instructional cues in log rolling. When people are first learning, their initial reaction when they first get on, their first instinct is to look down at their feet for beginners. So when they get on and they look down at their feet, that pulls their weight off the log. So if your staff can just really understand and kind of reiterate for the participants, don't look at your feet, look down the length of the log. They want to be looking down the log at the opposite end. You can see in this third, the colored photo on the end, she's not looking down at her feet. She's kind of looking down at the other, at the opposite end. And they want, for two reasons, is one, again, if they look down at their feet, they tend to fall forward. But if they look down the length of the log, that helps keep their core centered right over the log. And then two, once you start log rolling with another person, you want to look down at their feet to see what they are going to be doing. So right away, when you're first learning, you just want to get accustomed to doing that. And then the number one thing in log rolling is to never stop moving your feet. So that's, again, going to be something that your staff will continually be saying to participants, keep your feet moving, keep your feet moving. You want to take super small little steps on top of the log. So if they can understand those, if they can demonstrate the stance on the pool deck, and if they can demonstrate those super small, fast little steps on the pool deck and have participant or at the beachfront, if you're at a natural waterfront, and have the participants trying those and then get in the water. And if they know how to hold the log and if they can be giving those cues to the participants, they can be a really effective instructor that way. So I think the biggest thing is to be able to encourage your staff and to give them the tools that they feel like, okay, I can be an effective instructor, but I don't have to be an expert at this, is a really big thing. So, I would say, encouraging them, like, even if you aren't like the best log roller in the world yourself, but if you can watch and kind of give those verbal cues and be encouraging and be enthusiastic, they can be a great advocate for your program, a great representative of your program, and be an effective instructor. So the big the biggest thing really is just for them, to have fun with it, and to, like I said, in making it a log rolling staff designation, to have fun and to really be empowered to be a representative as a log rolling staff for your program or your camp, or your university. So with that, I will open it up to questions. Um, does anyone, if you have questions, you can throw it. Either you can type a question into the Q&A. We're also going to, like I said, give you the ability to unmute yourself. So we've, just to clarify, because I know this is, so you're not necessarily unmuted right now. We've given you the ability to unmute yourself. So if you go like in your control panel, or I think it's might be on the bottom left. So just unmute yourself if you want to ask any questions, or chat. But you know, that was what, less than about 20 minutes. And that's, really like what your staff need. That's kind of a great basic template checklist for your staff, to train your staff this summer. So good luck, and I hope it goes well. And of course, I am always here, if you want to set up a call, to discuss other training options, or to discuss any specifics related to your program. We love doing the on-site training and coming to train you, but we, in the very least, we want you to have a strong program. So if that's not in your budget, or if it's just not going to work out for you this year, we want to at least be able to give you the tools for you to train yourself. But I hope we can make it to you one day. And if you do have questions about our on-site staff training, feel free to email me directly, abby@keylogrolling.com. And I will also say that we do have some virtual options available that we're developing. So if you would like to talk about those, again, we're kind of tailoring those virtual options a little bit more specifically to each program. So if you'd like to talk about that, again, abby@keylogrolling.com. You can feel free to email me and we can set up a time to chat. So